welcome to today's live. My name is Brandy Shaver, and we are talking about the top secrets of using story to build your team. And I wanted to come outside because it was super nice today, and it's getting fall here, and so it's not as warm. But I wanted to jump in and share with you the top secrets of using your story to build your team and how important it is to use your story. And I actually just spent some time with Kendra Hall. How many of you are familiar with her? If you are, drop me a comment down below. About storytelling. That's what she does, is she teaches people how to tell their stories. And the purpose of telling your story is because humans are attracted to stories. And it's super important because they want to know about you and they want to connect with you. All right. There's information and then there's story. Which one is more interesting, right? Drop me a comment which one you think is more interesting. And so she told how the Super Bowl, they did a study on the Super Bowl commercials and how many of you will remember this commercial, and it's actually from 2014. You will remember that 30-second piece out of your own story or out of their story because of the story that they told inside of that commercial. And it's the dog and the puppy with the Budweiser. Do you remember that? If you remember, drop me a comment down below. I'd love to know. But basically they did a study on, there's three things that they studied: story, celebrity endorsements, and then cute animals. And story has won out every time on every study that they've done on this. And so if you remember that dog and puppy with the horse, the Budweiser commercial, let me know, because I remember it. Even though I don't remember the year, I actually don't remember who was playing the inside the Super Bowl, but I remember that commercial being super impactful because it was about the story, right? Now, story is more powerful than pretty much anything else that you can do. You can share information, you can, give people tips and tricks and all kinds of hacks and all of that, but people really want a connection. And so when you're using it to build your team, there's some things that I want to share with you that she shared with us that were super important. So let me just grab my notes really quick. Stories are memorable, right? And we can go into storytelling mode as a default. It's super easy and it's definitely duplicatable because people, and duplicable for those of you that are English Nazis out there. I always get somebody that's like, Brandy, that's not how you say that. So I totally get it, right? I totally get it. No, my comments are going to work. So I see, I'm not sure how to say your name. Kayasia, whatever it is, it's beautiful. You have to tell me how to say it. But story is super powerful, and it's something that we want to be using inside of our team. Now, story happens in a particular moment. So remember that. These are the tips I want to remember about story, because I have always used story. However, there's always a place to improve, right? And so if we can improve our stories, we can connect with other human beings and then be able to build our teams. And so number one, story happens in a particular moment. All right. So our stories are a particular moment. And I know that I use a lot of these particular moments inside of my copywriting as well. When you're just like general and you're like, oh, hey, I joined network marketing because, I want to build a better life for my family. It's not really as impactful as, hey, I joined network marketing because I, had a moment in time where I was working constantly and missing out on all of the times that I could be with my, with my kids. And even more specific than that would be, I want to build my business. I decided to do network marketing because I was able to fit it into the pockets of my life. And I also can be home for when my daughter gets off the bus and I'm the one that gets to go through her backpack and not the daycare, right? So can you see the difference in those three levels of story? One's generic, right? General. One is more specific, but it's general. And then the other one is super specific, all right? So stories also have a beginning, middle, and end, okay? So this is what Kendra Hall taught us. And then emotion, you've got to add emotion into your story. So if you take the story I just gave you, the last one, where, hey, I decided to build network marketing because number one, I could fit it into the pockets of my life. And number two, because I wanted to be the one that when my daughter got off the bus, I was the one able to go through her backpack and be able to connect with her and do all of those things. Because when you get home from work, all of that joy, all that fun, and all that is gone, right? Like it's all gone. Like they're no longer, you'll ask your kids after school and, 2 or 3 hours, they're not excited about what's in their backpack anymore, right? They're like, oh, that was like hours ago, Mom, right? So adding that emotion in there makes a bigger impact. And then number 4, what the story needs to have is characters to care about. Okay. So that was something that was really cool is understanding the 4 pieces of a story. Now, one of the biggest mistakes is that most network marketers make, especially if you're brand new, is you're like, I don't really have a story, right? Like some of us maybe don't have, and I know Kat's on here. Kat, you just read Stories That Stick on the Plane. Awesome. So Kendra Hall actually shared with us her new book, which was Stories That Stick. And so Kat saying that she read it on the plane, Kat was also there. But one of the biggest mistakes we make, and like Kat, she has said in some of her trainings, is she's like, I didn't have any tragedy in my life, right? My parents were awesome. They always encouraged me to do everything that I needed to do. I got good grades that, I did. There was really no big moment of transition where she was like, oh my gosh, I need to do network marketing, right? So everybody's story, the thing is we get to a place where we're like, oh, our story is really not that important. But there's other people that are like you that are thinking that same thing. And so your story is super important. And I'm going to share with you how you can put that together, all right? So there's usually two kinds of people. One, and this was really powerful, some of the things that Kendra also shared, was a big story, right? And you're not ready to share it. So this could be like maybe a death in the family. This could be, something that you've gone through, trauma. This could be like something you're just not quite comfortable sharing out there in the world, right? That's one group of people. And then the other ones is I don't have a story, like I was telling you before. Like for instance, my husband and I, we make great money. I didn't need to do network marketing, right? But I was looking for the freedom. That's not really the same story as somebody like, for instance, I have people in my team that were backed into a corner. They were living with their in-laws, right? And they were trying to get out of living with their in-laws, and their life was falling apart. So there's two different ways, but you want to just focus in on your story, and it's important because somebody's waiting for you. All right. So there's three ways that you want to craft your story. So finding a story, you got to find the story. Number 2 is you got to craft the story. And number 3 is you got to tell the story. Now, finding stories, this is kind of tricky for a lot of us, right? We're like, shmeh, I don't really have a great story. Well, what about your list of firsts? When was the first time that you saw network marketing? What were you feeling? What were you thinking? What were you doing? What did you see? Like, how did you feel? Okay, so list of firsts. Maybe the first time you received a check. Maybe the first time that you enrolled a team member. Maybe the first time you got your first customer, right? All of these things are important, and these are stories that you can share to create your brand and to create that attractive presence for people. Number 2 is favorite products, right? You can do stories around favorite products. Number 3 is a list of customer stories. This was an eye-opening thing for me. I was like, holy cow, like I have tons of people that have testimonials about how great they have used our products, right? I have people in my team that have been able to retire. They've been able to be home with their children, right? Most common questions is another way that you can build out stories. Make a list of objections. Those could be stories or content that you use to build out your brand. And then number 6 is the moment you discovered your purpose, or maybe the reason that you decided you wanted to do network marketing, because that's super powerful when you're sharing that to grow people's team. So we actually have a ton more to share about stories, and I wanna share more later, but I wanted to share with you this piece about growing your team. When you can give people some information and base that on story as well, it relates to more people and your team will grow faster. There's information and then there's emotion, and we want to marry the two together, and you can do that by using stories. So Scott says, facts tell and stories sell. Everyday situations can be turned into a story, and you are right. Brittany, welcome. I see Kat still on here. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you guys being on here. I have a huge announcement. We are doing a branding boot camp. It's going to be a complimentary branding boot camp that we're doing over inside of one of my groups that is incredible. People are getting incredible results, and there's going to be a ton of prizes. You're welcome to come over there, and in fact, not only welcome, I do recommend it, because if you're not branding yourself, if you're not telling stories, if you're not creating a brand around yourself, and maybe you don't know how, right? Maybe you're like, well, what is a brand, right? Like, this is great to know stories, but what are you supposed to do with them? Well, we're going to teach you over there in the branding bootcamp. Now, when you get over there, I'm actually going to drop the link in the comments, so you'll be able to get over there in that. When you get there, you have to tell them Brandy sent you. All right, super important, or they won't let you in. So say Brandy Shaver sent me, and it starts on the 15th. There's also some units that you can get started on. That's some basic training that will really get you moving in the right direction and kind of open up your mind to the way all of this online stuff works. So I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you taking the time to be here with me, and we will see you over there in the branding bootcamp. Have a great rest of your day, and we will see you on Wednesday. Talk soon.